Good morning. Thank you so much for joining me at the Inward Somatic Studio. I'm Tracy, and I'm going to be your guide today. Today, we're going to focus on building that mind-body bridge and really building a strong safety net within our bodies. We do that by moving slowly and intentionally within our bodies, by calling out and naming the sensations within our bodies that we're feeling, and by expanding and exploring, resting, relaxing our bodies, and finally really feeling that feeling in our bodies. We're going to be focusing on cat-cow and pigeon today. So if you are an experienced yogi and you know you need blocks or blankets for those, please grab them. Let's get going. We're going to start in a seated position here today. Crisscross applesauce. If you need a block under your butt, carry on. Start with some really deep breaths just to kind of pull ourselves into the moment. Please breathe at your own pace. While I am here as your guide, please do not feel like you need to match my breath pace or depth. I really want you to feel your breath fully and deeply. Please continue breathing on your own. I'm going to chat through a few other points that I focus on here in these somatic yoga sessions. What I have found most helpful in my own moving meditation, you may call it, is an acronym that I've come to love, which is NERD. I like to nerd out in my poses. So NERD stands for notice and name, expand and explore, relax and reset, and digest dopamine. NERD. And all of these things happen simultaneously while we are in each stretch or pose. We're stretching in the pose. We're going to notice and name the sensations that we feel in our bodies. This doesn't have to be very involved. As you feel a stretch, I want you to say, that feels nice. That's what we're going for. Now, if you have the curiosity and the capability to say, that feels like plucking on the end of a shooting star, dude, bonus points for you and your creativity. That is actually better. I think you get serious bonus points for that. However, you can also start with, that feels nice. Both are acceptable. We also are going to be expanding and exploring within our stretches. I'll show you how that's done. But essentially, it's taking the basic stretch or pose and embracing our curiosity and our creativity and exploring how else we can move within that pose, even in just micro movements. R, relax and reset, feels self-explanatory, but in that relaxation, I want you to focus your mental energy on finding one fiber of one muscle that can let go in each stretch. It may not be within the muscle group that you're stretching. It may be an ancillary, unrelated muscle. In fact, the more unrelated, the better. I often find that when I relax these odd muscles, that actually, in some roundabout way, it will relax a muscle in the group that I'm actively stretching. So it's great. But there's a mental exercise in that very action. And finally, the digest dopamine. we want to acknowledge that feel good. It's an intentional acknowledgement of that feeling. It's noticing when things are going right. It's saying, oh, I am here for this moment that is good. We're building that bridge, that sensation. I'll get into that later as well. Hopefully you are feeling a little more in this moment, even if you're not really sure what's coming up next, which is cat-cow. Get there however you like. One thing you will really notice, especially if you're new to this somatic yoga, is that while it is supported by traditional yoga poses, traditional stretches, it's not necessarily yoga. It's very much led by you and how your body moves. We're going to start in a traditional cat-cow. We're going to breathe deeply and drop our bellies. Breathe out, arch your back. Breathe deeply, drop your belly. Breathe out, arch your back. One more. Breathe in, drop your belly. Breathe out, arch your back. Now, after we've done a solid 3 deep breaths in any traditional pose, then I'm going to open the floor up for you to expand and explore within your pose. So this is where playful curiosity is going to start coming into play. I find that I will kind of roll this arched cat pose. I'll kind of come forward, kind of roll on my back where that archy business is kind of hitting. Come forward. I don't worry about matching the breath to the movement anymore. This isn't going to be like, hey, make sure you breathe out exactly here. When you need a breath, take it. I encourage you to be breathing. Please don't hold your breath. If you find a spot that feels nice, try to pause and breathe out. This is noticing what's tight. What feels like it could move. Right? We're kind of always flowing between the N, E, R, and D. So in this place here where we're in this ever-moving cat-cow, we're seeing what our body feels like as we move it in unusual ways. If you usually do cat-cow in a more static, traditional yoga class and haven't found much from it, or like, I mean, that's nice, but I don't really care. This is your opportunity to find out why other people might really like cat-cow. Maybe your cat-cow needs more of a side stretch. What we're doing is we're expanding and exploring. So we're just opening up the communication pathways from our bodies. Our body is always talking to us. It's always sending us messages. But are we opening the mail? Or are we lefting them unopened, unread? So get curious. Moving in a slow and intentional way means you aren't going to hurt your body. If it moves there without pain, you cannot hurt your body. This is a very safe action. You experienced yogis out there, I know, are saying like, well, you're doing all these other yoga positions here. This is no longer cat-cow. Well, you're right. I'm no longer in cat-cow, right? This is playful puppy, or some effect thereof. You're right. But I'm not static in any of these. And in the end, I end up flowing back to cat-cow. We're just exploring. And we're answering the call from our body saying, hey, can you move like this? Can you move like that? If you find a spot that feels nice, please stop and stay there and stretch. And on a breath out, try to find a muscle that can relax. Try to let go somewhere. And in that release, it can be kind of scary to let go of that, especially if you're used to holding on to that, into that muscle group, that muscle fiber. Releasing can feel scary, actually. If you've ever done any one of those like adrenaline things, like if you've ever rappelled off a wall or done a bungee jump or skydive, the release is the scary part. But part of this practice is rebuilding the safety net. Telling your body it's okay to let go. You don't have to hold on this tightly. There are other mechanisms that are going to keep you safe here. It's not just you. There's a whole team here that's keeping you safe. And by moving slowly, you activate all these different players, all these different muscles. You wake them up, you're talking to them because you have to wake them up, right, to move through these kind of tiny micro movements. I tend to go quiet when I'm in the middle of something. I'm sorry, my brain gets focused. You can make this practice as intense or as kind of frivolous as you want. I'm going to throw it back to a quick child's pose here. Feel free to meet me there. Untuck your toes, make your knees not quite as wide as the mat, but at least wide enough for your rib cage to settle down between your knees. Arms out or arms underneath you is a personal choice. I encourage you, especially in these very, very relaxing poses where you're not moving a whole lot. Although if your body is asking for movement, please honor that. Like right now, my body's like, hey, can you kind of like wiggle down here? Yeah, sure I can. I can do that, body. I can wiggle. These very deep, relaxing poses. These are great ones to practice curiosity in your breath. Audible exhales are so good for your body. They tone your vagus nerve, which kicks on your parasympathetic rest and digest system. Lowers your stress and brings your heart rate and your blood pressure down. Also, it feels nice. Like, think of all those like stressful activities that people make sounds for, right? Like extreme weightlifting. Ugh! When you're really angry. Ugh! Giving childbirth. Ugh! Right? It's these like guttural sounds. There's reasons we do that. There's a myriad of reasons why we would do that. One of them is a stress release. sometimes when you're doing these stretches, I'm going to come out of this because I can feel it on my knees. I'm going to come out into pigeon. Pin in that. Noises. Breathy noises. Somebody put a pin in that and remind me of it when I get into pigeon. Good luck with that. It's a one-way recording. Ha, ha, ha. All right, so pigeon. Come up here into tabletop. Kind of an extended tabletop. This right knee is where I'm going to start. Is going to come up here behind the right wrist. We're going to kind of kick her out here. Not where it's straight across, but kind of at a 45. And we're going to settle back into it. If you would like, you can put a blanket underneath this hip here. Find a comfortable spot. This knee should not be tweaked in any way. You should feel comfortable here. This is one I tend to move in quite a lot. I encourage you to take 3 deep breaths here before you do a ton of moving, just to make sure that you are in a comfortable place for you in pigeon. If you prefer to do a figure 4 on your back, you may do that. But back to breathy sounds, especially when you find a really deep stretch that feels really good and you are tempted to make some sort of a creepy sex noise that you would be embarrassed to make in front of your massage therapist. Assuming that you are watching this alone in a quiet place, please, I beg you, please make the creepy sex noise. It's good for you. Nobody can hear you. And frankly, nobody can hear me right now except for you, and I don't care. So I am also going to make the creepy sex noises, and if I go viral for that, so be it. I don't care. I would rather tone up my vagus nerve than endure, and I would rather endure the comments down below saying, oh my, listen to those breathy tones. Okay. Fine. When you expand and explore in your pigeon, feel free to kind of move around in this hip socket. Be careful, okay? We don't want to hurt the knee. Slow and steady allows for this safe curiosity within your body. The goal of this somatic yoga is to build the trust bridge between the mind and the body. We don't want to bring in injury because that's not going to help anybody. And if you haven't been listening to your body in a while, that trust bridge might be a little sad. Might be a little deteriorated, a little dilapidated, a little creaky. So start slow. There's no competition here. It's between you and your body. And the more you do it, frankly, the better the bridge gets. The more resilient, the more sound, the more sturdy. I'm going to do kind of a great hip opener here. I have found that if I come up on my toes and really stretch out that leg, I can get a nice hip opener to the front. Really gets up into my psoas, which is notorious for me. All right, I'm gonna roll out of this, back to the camera. My apologies. Swing that leg around. Before we switch to the other side, I'm gonna stop and do a little hammy stretch. Do this however you like, reach however you reach. I don't care. Make it feel good for you. We all did these in school, at least some form. If you reach your feet, great. If you reach your knees, great. Be curious, try some stuff. What's great about doing this kind of a stretchy, curious session with your body is there is literally no judgment here. Any judgment that you feel you brought with you, mate. I can't see you. I don't care. You feel what you feel. And no one here is able to tell you any different. If you're here on the mat watching, I'm proud of you. You're showing up. You're trying to feel more stable in your body. And that could be for a whole lot of reasons. That could be that maybe you're coming out of injury. Maybe you're struggling with anxiety. Maybe you're just trying something different, something new. Maybe it's all of those things. You've carved out some time for you. That's what matters. And in the meantime, you're learning about yourself. You are gathering information. You're experiencing your body. You're noticing what your body likes. You're saying, oh, that feels good. I don't think I felt that muscle before. I didn't know I had a muscle right there. That's the most fun. I love it when I find that. When you know, in like a really weird position, you're like, I didn't know I could stretch that muscle. Or if you have like that really weird little twinge in your back that you finally get to, and you're like, is that how I do that? No way. All right, we're gonna do pigeon on the left leg if you're following my sides here. Left leg comes up. Again, if you need the bolster on that under that left hip, carry on. I can't decide if I'm hot or cold, so sweaters. If you have a side that's one stickier than the other, it's okay. That happens to all of us. In these discussions with yourself and your body, I encourage you to be neutral at minimum, but positive is best in your discussions. So as you're finding muscles, no doubt you'll find a pain point or two because you're a human. But if you find something that hurts, A, back off of it. We don't want injury. But B, I encourage you to set it aside. That's not our goal here. We don't want to find all the things that hurt. It's not an I Spy of pain. It's, let's find the things that say, okay, I want you to find the muscles that feel nice and, oh, I needed that. Oh, I needed that muscle to move. I needed that to stretch out. I needed to find that pressure, that pull right there because that feels like that's been stuck there for too long. I want you to sink into it, melt into it. Because that sensation, especially if we're having that dialogue where you could almost say it out loud, kind of the way I am to you, frankly. Our brains are consciously reading that signal sent from the muscles, right? We're consciously absorbing that information the muscles are sending us, the brain. The brain then is sending down that wire back down to the muscles saying, hey, I got this message. This is what you meant. Muscle's like, yeah, man, isn't it amazing? Brain says, heck yes, it is. Love this journey for us. And then the dopamine explodes like glitter. Or so it is imagined in my head. All the glitter and the jazz hands. And don't we all feel better now? I do. I hope you do. Yeah, that's nice. Thank you, Pigeon. That feels lovely. Found a little tiny tight spot. Ow. When you're deep in these positions, by the way, be slow coming out of them. Some of those muscles have gotten pushed past where they are used to being, and therefore have been pushed into a vulnerable state. We're going to go on our backs and just do a little tiny shavasana. Nothing fancy. If you want to lay down a corpse pose, by all means. I'm going to just do a little knocked knees because that just sometimes is nice. Muscles. So we've pushed these muscles past where they are comfortable into a vulnerable state. Now that's a good thing. As you are wanting to increase flexibility in your muscles, you do need to push them past where they are comfortable. That's kind of how that works. So we are pushing them past where they are comfortable in order to make them stronger and more flexible. So be aware that your muscles, as we do these stretches, will be more vulnerable, so we just take care of them. We are kind to them, we move more slowly, we support them a little bit more as we move about. And in the end, that's going to make them stronger. Movement is medicine, even if it is slow and stretchy, just like we're doing here. This is just a stretchy kind of workout. It'll burn a lot of calories, but it's still good for your body. As we lay here, think about all the dopamine that's just scrolling around your body right now. Think how glittery your bloodstream must be right now. So glittery. I see dopamine as gold glitter myself, but you imagine what your dopamine looks like. Maybe yours is a different color. Maybe it's a different substance. Maybe it's more like confetti or pom-poms. I don't know. It's your dopamine. Do a couple audible breaths with me, please. I encourage goose sounds. I encourage creepy sex noises and horse lips. If you don't have anywhere to be, don't get up. Soak this up longer. I have to get up. Woe was me. So I'm gonna roll over on my right side slowly because I don't want to get up. Carl. Fine, get up. Put myself back together, kind of. I hope you feel better. I hope your body feels more at peace with itself. I hope you found a little bit more space in your muscles and in your joints. And I hope you take a little bit of this glitter dopamine with you all day. Thank you so much for joining me at the Inward Somatic Studio. I'm Tracy, and I hope you stay. I can do this. I'm too relaxed. I'm Tracy. I was your guide here at Inward Somatic Studio, and I hope to see you next time. Thanks.